Speaking of processor cores, Debian has officially announced that RISC-V is an officially supported architecture. This is a significant move for the RISC-V community. While the official archive currently has limited content, this acceptance marks the beginning of increased support and development for RISC-V in Debian. As RISC-V gains interest as an alternative CPU architecture, is this a signal moment showing that RISC-V is gaining widestream adoption?
Yeah, I think this is huge. I mean, anytime that you get a OS core supporting a very specific architecture like this is a big move for that community. And to your point, this is a community. This is an open source architecture, which is fairly new, fairly unique in this space. And I see a lot of advantages, a lot of synergy with the Linux community, of course, being very open source in a lot of places. And despite all of the Red Hat stuff going on, the fights around that, and closed sourcing some of these operating systems, Linux ultimately is built out of the open source. So being able to see them supporting the RISC-V architecture, being able to have those two communities working more closely together, I think is going to be an interesting thing to watch. Debian being early in that space to do it. Obviously, Debian is upstream from a lot of other operating systems, a lot of other distributions of Linux. So we're going to see that slipping into other places based on this. Again, this is an announcement ahead of the actual what's going to happen, but long term, we're going to see this start to have a toehold in the environment to do more with that. So it's exciting to see that recognition. It's exciting to see these two communities starting to work closer together to develop something that will go out there and make this new architecture out there. Obviously, we've seen a lot with the not only the AMD Intel battles, but as we look across other architectures, there's a lot of interest in having other architectures out there. The most obvious of which is the ARM architecture, which we've been looking at as being the big thing for doing low power, to being able to be more mobile, but has started to become more wieldy than maybe people expected. So having some other options out there is always good. I was always a fan of RISC architectures back in the day, and I never really felt like they got their due, being stuck in the supercomputer space. So being able to see this start moving into the standard system space is kind of exciting to me.